guys, Live for Love TV. I want you to like, share and subscribe. Big up yourself.
Welcome back to Live for Love TV. Today's the 28th day of the 10th month inside the 22nd year. It's the 21st century. Hope everyone's doing well out there. You can see I'm a little bit tired this morning. Anyway, I said I'd come back on the Conor Benn, the boxer Conor Benn, son of Nigel Benn, Conman Benn. I said if he makes a statement or if anything comes out about him from the video I made before, I'd come back and say something, even though I said quite a lot. But you can go back and watch what I said. I don't take back anything I've said so far. Now, he's making all silly little statements about he's paying hundreds of thousands and thousands of pounds towards scientists to prove that he's an innocent man. I mean, that in itself sounds like as biggest load of guilt I've ever heard. You're looking for scientists, not the ones who are going to say you're guilty, but you're finding scientists who can actually find some innocent. I mean, of course you can find scientists. I could do that. I could find a scientist that could, if I right now wanted to, I could find some scientists that say that I'm a European and that I'm white. I'm telling you, I could find a scientist that would actually come out and say that, and then find some science to somehow prove that's right. You can get scientists to say anything. That's the whole point. It's not about consentence or peer review scientists. You're talking about getting a scientist to say something. Now his master, and I've got to call him his master, Mr. Eddie Hearn, has now come out with a statement. And now he was on. You need to go and watch this video. He's on with his sidekick on, I think it's IFL TV. The guy who can't ask him any questions are difficult really, because he won't come back on his channel. And he's made, literally Eddie Hearn has probably been what made that channel anyway. So don't go looking for a proper interview if you go there when you watch Eddie and his Muppet interviewer. But just go there and try and read between the lines. Try and pick up what you can pick up. They've come out with this old one that they always come out when they get caught and they don't want to admit it when they're on drugs. They always say the amount that he has found in his body is so minute that he couldn't do anything for him, and it's a trace element. I mean, this has been going on for, I honestly, I don't know who they think they're talking to. It's a trace. Listen, if I take an iron tablet tomorrow, and let's say 3 weeks or 4 weeks from now, you test me for iron, it's going to be a trace amount of iron. Of course, if you don't catch the person the day after they've taken it, there's going to be less in their body than there was before. And don't come out with try and dazzle people with all this science about, oh, if you take it, it's in your body for 10 months. Yeah, in trace amounts. That's what everything that you put in your body that has a lingering effect. It has what they call a 28-day cycle, and then it has a trace amounts. So if he's been found with trace, if that's what you're going to use as science to say he didn't have enough in his body to affect him. We heard this when Ben Johnson was caught on drugs. If you remember, Linford Christie was caught on ginseng, which was a banned substance, in that very race. And the British board of, the British athletic boards went behind him and backed him, unlike the Canadians who left Ben out to dry. They backed him and they said, well, he didn't have that much, he got it in a cough syrup or he didn't have that much in his body to affect his performance. Of course, I mean, these kind of arguments are ridiculous. Either the thing is supposed to be in your body or it's not supposed to be in your body. You start talking about contamination, you start talking about all these arguments that you're making, trace amounts, a minute amount. I don't care what it is you have. You could have a vitamin C tablet. If you take a vitamin C tablet and you test the person at the wrong time, they either got no more vitamin C in their body or they've got a trace amount left. That's common sense, right? I mean, surely that's common sense. The thing's not going to be at the same level as when you were taking it. So these arguments are ridiculous. And the funny thing is that the drug that Conor Benn was apparently on could be a masking drug for something else. Eddie Hearn was trying to make it out that, well, he could only have taken, if it could only have been to take, and nobody takes that, only somebody who's thick, he said, something like, who's dumb and thick would take something like that. I mean, this guy is beyond a comedian. He is beyond a comedian. But you see, when you've got that kind of money, you've got that kind of pull, you've got those kind of people, these kind of muppets that interview you can get away with anything. He's running from Simon Jordan from TalkSport. He's running from him. I don't particularly rate Simon Jordan, but I know Simon Jordan will give him a good 3-round fight in an interview, because Simon Jordan's not going to let him get away with this kind of behaviour, this kind of talk, and trace elements and all it. I mean, to say that, well, he's come into my office and I believe him. What kind of rubbish is this? It's anybody who's got a friend or anybody you know that you check for, and if they come up to you and say, well, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, of course you want to believe the person. They're your friend, or there's somebody you work with, or somebody you know. Of course you want to believe the person. But if you were an adult and unemotional and not connected to the situation, could stand back from it, you'd be able to look and say, something doesn't quite look right here. Has these performances improved dramatically over the last year or year and a half? And the fact is, they had. Just like with Ben Johnson, a lot of people didn't want to believe that Ben Johnson had taken something, but Ben Johnson's performances were improving dramatically, and it could be seen. It wasn't just, yes, Carl Lewis may have pointed him out, but we could see his body change, and we could see his performances change, and it wasn't overnight, but they changed dramatically, just like our performances knocking out people has changed dramatically. So, as I said, I'd come back at this because I know that these guys, these comedians, are going to give you the big programs, the $1 million, $1 billion, whatever they got, arguments and stuff like that. But the truth is, they're not fooling anybody that's got any sense. I'm telling you, anybody who's got an independent mind, they're not fooling anybody. Don't come up with trace amounts. That's a silly argument. That's an argument I may use if my doctor said, oh yeah, say you only had a trace amount in it, because it suggests if you had a trace amount, then it's not going to do you any good anyway. That's what they're basically trying to suggest. He had so little amount of it, it's not going to do him any good. They can't tell you when it went in his body, how much he had in his body at the time it went in his body, how much it did for him prior to you tested him. None of this is going to be talked about, just that he had a minute amount or a trace amount. Unbelievable, absolute joke. Yeah? Take care, Live for Love TV.
One step